Hey, y'all, and welcome back to the Deep Threads Podcast. As always, I am here chit-chatting your damn ears off, getting ready to go live. Oh, wait, we are live. We are going to jump into the Denver-Kansas City game first thing today. But before we do that, as always, you have me, your host, KJAM, and my wonderful co-host, Wheels, is here today.
Hello. Happy to be back. We have a lot to talk about. Some injuries. People are on IR for fantasy. We still have our top 10 we want to talk about for quarterbacks for the season. I'm just going to tell you now, this is not fantasy. It is what they are doing in the NFL right now. So just get that out of your minds and be ready for that conversation a little bit later on after we recap.
Why don't you give us who our injuries are today?
Or
over the past week, who's going on IR?
Big injuries, obviously, are Devin Achane for Miami. He's on IR minimum of 4 weeks, obviously. James Conner, IR minimum of 4 weeks. And Justin Jefferson is on the IR with a minimum of 4 weeks. Who else was put on the IR?
I can't remember the other person. I thought that was it.
Yeah, and then Greg Dulcich is coming off the IR. Jamal Williams should be coming off the IR possibly next week.
Okay.
So you might see you're not gonna see a downtick in Kamara, but obviously Kendra Miller had a good game last week, I believe, even with Kamara. So with Jamal Williams back there, it'll be more of a crowded backfield, which isn't a bad thing with the check down, especially with the injury to Derek Carr and him still dealing with a shoulder injury. So I would definitely, if you didn't stash him on the IR, maybe pick him up, depending on how deep your leagues are for running backs. I picked him up and I put him on my IR. I have JJ on my IR after making a trade for him that I'm not 100% comfortable with, but I'm 2-6. Screw it. I have to do something to change. So there's been a lot of injuries this past year, especially these soft tissue injuries, and I think it's they said 30% more injuries at this point so far than last year. But it's just odd because every year that number is increasing. But the problem is the majority of these injuries happen on turf, which the NFL, the NFLPA, a lot of players, there's been discussions. I personally think turf is a big issue. A lot of players think turf's a big issue. This past weekend, we had the Buffalo players saying they might as well have played on cement in London because it was so hard. So there's been a lot of talk about the grass and the turf that they have played on for the past couple of years. But if you look, the majority of injuries, especially soft tissue, ACL, MCL, PCL, Achilles, hamstring, even that stuff is happening on turf. So, it's a leading cause of the injuries happening right now in the NFL that is affecting the game to its finest. And I think they need to make a change because guess what? It's not going to cost that much money to change from a turf to a grass field. And all these owners are billionaires, so it's pennies to them.
Whoa. Let's not just say they're billionaires. That's a little intense there.
Okay,
yeah.
Millionaires. Millionaires.
They definitely are money-loving, hungry...
Sons of bitches?
Peoples. There's kids watching. Maybe. I don't know.
We've said worse things on the show before,
I told my wife to have my daughter watch because I haven't seen her all day. So we'll see. And here, this one's for you guys. So Monday... It went as expected, right?
So
it was the Raiders,
the Packers, Packers.
The Packers at Las Vegas.
Yeah. So just recapping that real quick, not to interrupt you. I think they opened up more of the playbook for Jordan Love and say, you know what? Prime time, let's see how comfortable you are with the reins. And obviously that did not go as planned for the Packers, but you know what? Everybody I see is hating on Love, saying he's not a starting quarterback. He doesn't belong as a starting quarterback.
We'll get into that today.
But we're going to get into that. As of right now, I don't think you can say that. The guy has only had, I think, 6 or 7 starts his entire career.
As of right now, he's not the worst quarterback in the league.
And he is not the worst quarterback
not
in
even
the league.
the bottom 10.
He is not. So we'll get into that. But I think everybody just needs to, lay off, the Jordan Love.
I told you there's kids watching.
The Jordan Love bashing and just give the kid a little bit of time, a little bit of room to breathe, because I think part of the issue is that wide receiver room. Watson's still coming. I feel like he's coming back from an injury. Romeo Doubs was injured. Jaden Reed is a rookie. So you have a lot of young guys in that locker room on the receiving core. Aaron Jones has been out since week 1. That was his only healthy week.
Aaron Jones? He doesn't even play football anymore.
A.J. Dillon is not a viable backup
Aaron
right now.
Jones is hanging out with Deshaun Watson at the bar.
Don't say that. So
what up, bro?
I think everybody just needs to, peel back. I think Jordan Love will come into his own. I don't see him as a top 10 quarterback, but I definitely see him as a top 20. He's a viable starter in this league.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we'll
100%.
talk about it a little bit. But this game went as not what I said. The Raiders were favored by 1.5 to start this game, and I think they won by like 2.
Yeah, you want to know what?
But I have one thing to say, because this is what all the hype was on Monday, was all about the horse collar to stop the touchdown, which would have made Green Bay win that game.
Yeah.
First things first. Every sport has a strategy, and sometimes taking penalties is part of that strategy.
Exactly.
If that's what kept them from winning the game, that strategy won.
Who?
Now, maybe you can fine a guy for doing a technical horse collar.
Yeah, like egregious.
But
egregious penalty
and to
or
be honest, the
something.
team might pay for it, because this goes right back to, what was it called? I always say Spygate, but it's not Spygate.
Deflategate.
No, when they were intentionally injuring players.
Bountygate.
Bountygate
for the
So this goes back to Bountygate.
Yeah.
Essentially, this is a form of a strategy of an offense or a defense to take a penalty. Because remember Belichick taking 2 offensive
and then
penalties to win a game.
And then what's his name did the same thing to
Vrabel. Did the same thing.
And Belichick was livid.
Penalties is part of the strategy of the NFL.
Hey, guess what? So I'm just gonna say something real quick. It may not be happening.
That wasn't real quick.
Happening now, but if you didn't think players were purposely trying to injure each other in football, then you're beside yourself, because it's football.
As a Browns fan,
it's football.
Who's had Odell and Nick Chubb and Braylon Edwards? Hey, I'm good. I don't need to talk about injuries. I'm just saying. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, the Raiders won that game, but handedly it was the Green Bay Packers game. He had, 3 interceptions in that game?
He threw it. I'm not trying to say it's on Jordan Love, but he did throw that game away with the interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to have a bad game.
Yeah.
T-Law had, 4 interceptions in a game? The only reason he won that game is because he threw a perfect second and a half.
Josh Allen, his first game of the year against the Jets, 3 interceptions.
Fitzmagic
awful.
Historically is known for being the greatest quarterback than the worst quarterback the next day.
Hot, cold. There's no middle. I mean, you saw, so Kirk Cousins 2 weeks ago, I think, had an awful game, and then he bounced back and had a good game this week. Not great, but good. So it's just, consistency is key in the NFL, and it's just,
I think Kirk Cousins, back-to-back weeks, had really bad weeks.
I don't know. It's just, Jordan Love's going to find that consistency with this coaching staff, and they're going to find it in him. It's just, getting it to be consistent. That's the only thing. And I think he can be, like I said, he's going to be a viable starter in this league. He's not going to be top 10. I don't think they can win a Super Bowl with him right now. Not at all.
I don't know. I think
he's a viable starter.
Knock it on me, right? Because I told you I'm not a fan of Jordan.
No, and I hyped up Jordan Love before the season. Everybody called me crazy.
And I said that, I just don't think he has the ability based on what I've seen. But based on the way he's being coached and if he had Devontae Adams, this is a different offense.
Oh, 100% it is. 100%.
Romeo Doubs is your 3rd. Watson is your 2.
I don't. A lot of people are going to disagree with me. I just don't see Watson as a viable number 1 right now with how young he is.
And it's okay.
This Love needs a veteran wide receiver 1.
But you definitely need Aaron Jones.
You know who?
Because right now you need a running back.
You know who they could afford right now in Green Bay?
I'm over here dying.
Following next year, a guy named Mike Evans.
No, not 31 years old. It would cost too much. I think
You signed him to a 3-year deal.
But this is a team that just let him get some chemistry with Christian Watson. I think if Christian Watson can stay on the field, technically Romeo Doubs is looking like Randall Cobb.
Yes, and Jaden Reed hasn't really. He's a rookie. He's shined in spots.
And we'll see what happens. They have great tight ends. They have great tight ends.
But like I said, so I said it before the season started that I think Jordan Love's going to be viable. I think he's going to be good. He is exactly what I thought he would be at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
he's exactly what I thought he would be. He's a guy that can win you games if you're not going out there asking him to do too much. He did throw a lot in that game. How many do you perhaps know the stats for that passing in that game? I think he threw the most in that game out of all his other games this season.
Yeah, I think he actually had his highest statistical day.
But again, you're without Aaron Jones.
30 attempts, 100. Oh no, I'm wrong. That's actually his. That's right in the middle.
Okay.
30 attempts, 16 completions. Completion percentage was god awful.
Yeah.
And he's struggling with completion percentage this year. But again, like you just said, Christian Watson could be a big factor of that.
Aaron Jones isn't there, so you don't have that check down.
And
I
will say I've seen him overthrow at the beginning of the year. Like he was not hitting his targets. No. So coming into his own, the good thing is he's got a decent offensive line around him. They're not really giving up too many sacks. They're giving up sacks, but they're not giving up too many sacks. I mean, we'll see what happens. The turnovers is a big factor. He started great, and then he started turning the ball over. You got it, like you said, they might be letting him let loose.
Yeah, and that's what I think. They're putting the feelers out.
Week 1 and 2, he had 0 turnovers. Well, interceptions. I'm not going to say turnovers. He had 0 interceptions with 3 touchdowns. Week 3 against the Saints, and I did tell you week 1 and 2 that he wasn't playing any defenses.
Exactly.
And then he goes and plays the Saints, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Then he goes and plays Detroit, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Then he goes and plays Las Vegas, by the way, who is not a top-tier defense. 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So that's a big issue. But we'll move on from here. Like I said, I really like where Jordan Love's come. It's getting better.
He's exactly what I thought he was to this point.
And to be honest, both these teams really aren't the best teams in the world.
I mean, that was a battle of mid quarterbacks.
Well, honestly, it's a battle to see who can stay in the hunt at this point because, the loser of that team is now 3rd place in their division, right? Yeah. I think Green Bay, Green Bay's still in 2nd.
Yeah, it goes Detroit, Green Bay, Chicago
Vikings. Yeah.
Who had Detroit in first?
I think all of us.
I think this guy.
No, I had Minnesota. Yeah. I had Minnesota first.
I even bet on Minnesota
first. Hey, it's still early. Outside of the fact that everybody in the NFL right now is saying that there's 4 teams right now tanking for Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
there are 4 teams tanking right now for a quarterback. You have the Patriots, you have the Minnesota Vikings. There is rumors that Chicago, but I don't think that's legit. No,
Chicago would be dumb.
Atlanta can't do it because they're succeeding too much.
Arizona.
I don't think Arizona's doing it.
Do not be surprised.
But the Giants is possible. The Giants is possible.
Don't put him in with the Giants. God, please don't let him go to the Giants. They have nobody besides Barkley and Waller.
Yeah, and then there's still a possibility that Carolina drafts another quarterback. But I'm not going to say anything to that because they don't have a 1st-round draft pick.
No, I think that's going to be one of the worst draft trades in the next 5 years.
2 firsts and DJ Moore. There was more in that trade, just said FYI.
Yeah,
but for the most part, it was 2 firsts and DJ Moore for Bryce Young.
Everybody's like, oh, Bryce Young had a good game. Yeah, he had a good game in garbage time.
And statistically,
he had a good game in garbage time.
Bryce Young is worse than Kenny Pickett this year.
Who didn't like Bryce Young?
You loved Pickett, so
I like Pickett. But again, that was a different draft class.
I don't care.
I will die.
There was no 100%. Quarterback in that draft class.
No, I will die on that hill. Like I said, I give him 3 years. That's the most I give rookie quarterback.
All right, so we're not going to get into anything else right now. We're going to do what we've been attempting to do.
I do want to say real quick with this. So I saw some reports about C.J. Stroud and how he saw what they were doing with the defenses.
You saw sitting on a seesaw,
and he told Dalton Schultz to change his route.
Hey, let's not give away insider information. He's got a connection with Dalton Schultz. If you're not paying attention, go pick up with Dalton Schultz.
C.J. Stroud is reading defenses at a level that I didn't think a rookie at this time could do right now.
C.J. Stroud is communicating with his team
and remember
on how he's reading defenses.
Remember, what was that stupid test they had the quarterbacks take?
The Wonderlic.
Yeah, and guess what? He's reading defenses 5 games in. 5 games in, he's reading defenses like a rookie I haven't seen before.
The Wonderlic test is
shown
a bust.
to be...
It's a bust.
Yes.
I mean, there's a lot of people that fail the Wonderlic test. It's just not good.
I mean, I feel a lot of tests.
Eli Manning had like one of the highest scores on the Wonderlic test and won 2 Super Bowls.
Against Tom Brady.
Too bad he was a horrible regular season quarterback. I think didn't he win the Super Bowl at an 8-8 season?
No, it was 9-7.
No, 8-8.
Was it 8-8?
8-8.
Was that
he made it to the playoffs? 8-8.
Was that the year the David Tyree helmet catch? Or no, they were 10-6 that year.
I think so. I think it was 10-6 and 8-8.
Yeah.
But I just think it's funny. All right. Well, so what we're gonna do.
You want to talk about Thursday real quick, and then we'll get.
No, we'll go to Thursday next because that'll be the closest thing. But we're gonna do, because then hopefully we know who's out in that game too.
I already know, so we're good.
Well, it should get updated at like 6.
Yeah, it should be updated more.
What we're going to do is something we've been trying to do for a minute now, and that is get into our top 10 quarterbacks statistically in the 2023 NFL season, and then our thoughts going from there.
And how we interpret them.
Now, these stats are based on many stats. Wheels has his own stats. Now, granted, they're different stats possibly. Like he might weight stats different than I weight stats. Yes. So we might have similar rankings and we might have different rankings because neither of us really know because it's the first time we really talked about our rankings.
I mean, it's essentially throwing in a dartboard. We're just
at 1, I have Josh Allen.
And so do I.
Okay, so statistically, Josh Allen has one of the highest completion percentage. He's still got one of the highest touchdowns to turnover ratio.
Outside of that Jets game, he's a different
top
animal.
4 with passing yards. I didn't even check his rushing yards per game, but I know he's got to be top 5, top 10 with rushing yards per game.
He's at, I don't know because they have that James Cook. They added James Cook.
But on top of that, like when you look at his passer rating and you look at his QBR, and did you look at any other stats in this situation?
I looked at turnovers, passing yards, completion percentage, and QBR.
Okay,
and turnovers include fumbles.
I looked at
and
way more than that, just an FYI. I looked at completions. I looked at attempts. I looked at his rushing yards. And I broke everything down per game because it's not fair. Me and you agreed that it's not fair for guys that have only had 4 games in their bye week to not be counted in this situation. But did you find it?
He has 120 rushing yards.
So over 5 games, that's roughly about 26 rushing yards a game.
Yeah. So, but you got to remember they're other than the last week against the Jags, they have been utilizing the run game a lot more than they had last year at this point.
Okay. So actually that's 31 and a half rushing yards a game.
Yeah.
31 and a quarter or something like that. So that's pretty good because I still think that's like top 5 in the NFL right now.
Carry,
I think that's top 5 in the NFL right now. Outside of Lamar Jackson and maybe Patrick Mahomes and Daniel Jones might be up there. Jalen Hurts is up there.
Jalen is, yeah.
I think he's got like 200.
Jalen has 3 or 4.
I think I have it right here. Jalen Hurts has 41.2 yards per game.
200.
So if you times that by 5, that's a little over 200
206
yards.
rushing yards and 4 rushing touchdowns.
So yeah, I mean it's up there. I mean Josh Allen's up there. So honestly, is Josh Allen number 1 in your mind? I think we've always said he was capable.
Yeah. So I said at the beginning of the season I don't think he's top 5. Obviously, I'm wrong right now. So
statistically, he's top 5. We're not arguing that.
Statistically, 5 weeks in, he is number 1. Yeah. And I can't argue, and I don't think anybody can right now.
All right.
Again, this isn't fantasy. This is
statistical NFL stats.
Yes.
And to be honest, I think in fantasy he might be top 5.
I think he's number 1.
He might be number 1 in fantasy
also. He is number 1 in fantasy. Yes, he is. He's number 1, 3 overall.
Yeah, I'm going to actually just do that quarterback season fantasy points.
He has the most, 142.28. Depending on what league you're in.
Okay, that's a good point too.
So again, that is skewed depending on how your quarterbacks are, graded, how the points are, all
No,
that.
he's number one, and I have a lot of random points. So he's number one, and right behind him's Jalen Hurts. So, all right, number two. I want to hear your number two.
My number two, which will surprise you, I know, is Herbert.
Justin Herbert. All right, give me your explanation of why he's number two, because I do have a different number two, and it doesn't correlate to fantasy whatsoever. It correlates to just stats.
So Justin Herbert has a 70% completion percentage.
It's like fourth highest in the NFL.
Yep.
Okay.
He has played one less game. He has 7 touchdowns.
Now, does that go for him or against him with the completion percentage?
I think it goes for him. He has 10 touchdowns, 1 interception. And I believe 1 fumble. Hold on, it's in here. Is it 1 fumble?
It's 10 touchdowns and 1 turnover.
Yeah, it's 1 interception. You're right.
Yeah.
So
just 1 turnover.
So
correct.
I have Justin Herbert at 2 because if you have seen how he has played and some of the teams he has played, which has been Miami, Tennessee, Minnesota, and Las Vegas. So other than maybe Tennessee, he has not played a solid secondary, but he has been consistently above most of the field in all his stats.
Hold on. So your reason for having Herbert at 2 is because he hasn't played a good defense?
He's above the field. If you look at most of the guys,
this is what you just
I know,
said.
but if we'll get into it. But if you look into the rest of the league, a lot of the teams that have these top 5 quarterbacks, he's not
wrong. You're not wrong.
Have not played good defense
outside of Buffalo. You are not wrong.
So
you are not wrong.
That's again. So yes, that is my reasoning, but it's for good reason when we get into the rest of the league.
Okay, so my 2, and it's obviously exhausting hearing this name consistently, is Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is my number 2.
Brock Purdy's my 3.
And it is so hard to spit that out of my gut. In his second year of football, he hasn't played a full season yet. But when you're looking at somebody who is thrown for 9 touchdowns, only turned the ball over. I'm not going to say turn over. He's lost the ball twice because I don't know if those were lost fumbles. Or if they were just straight up fumbles. But I don't think he's thrown an interception.
Yeah, so this is a...
Oh, no, he's
thrown 1, I think. No, actually, no.
No, he's 9-0, but 2 fumbles.
Yeah, so this is a stat I wish the NFL would implement, is a tipped ball interception. Because I think if...
A quarterback interception as opposed to a wide receiver interception?
Exactly, because I think if you have your hands on the ball, it's 100% catchable. But if you tip it and the other
the only
team
people
gets
that
it,
would statistically be able to do that would be Next Gen Stats.
And they should.
And to be honest, I think it's easy for a tip ball to not be blamed on a quarterback.
I know it's an oxymoron.
I think all tip balls should be considered a fumble.
I like that.
Because the issue with a tip ball is that technically if nobody touched the ball, you probably wouldn't have been an interception.
Exactly. So that's why I said
because somebody changed the
attempted,
trajectory of the ball. But the question is, if a ball's tipped at the line,
it's a defense. It's still
do you see what I'm saying? Is it considered a fumble or is that considered an interception?
Let's talk about that. So if it's tipped at the line, that's on the quarterback. But if it's tipped by the wide receiver, I think it's on the wide receiver.
So only if it's tipped by your own team.
Correct.
So if it's tipped by a corner, it's considered an interception. Or like a linebacker that comes across the middle and throws his hand up and hits the ball. So you'd still consider that an interception.
Yes.
I mean, I would be okay for that.
I know, like I said, I know it's more of an oxymoron. I know we're getting to, muddy waters, but I wish there would be a stat for that because then, a lot of these interceptions that guys throw.
But to argue with you about your defensive argument about who they play.
Who's Brock Purdy played?
Brock Purdy played the Dallas defense last week, and he has a better completion percentage than Justin Herbert.
Okay. I did not realize that, actually.
Yeah, so Brock Purdy has a 72% completion percentage.
2%.
Now, I forgot to write down the attempts because I think Brock Purdy has attempted right around like 160 and has 120 completions or something like that. But Brock Purdy is throwing for 254 yards a game to Herbert's 276 yards a game, right? But Brock Purdy, I think, is 8th in the NFL in air yards. So we could have the conversation about whose receivers might be better, because I think Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, when they were healthy, might be better than CD and Ayuk, right?
Yeah.
I think wide receiver wise, like we can not CD, Debo and Ayuk. We can argue all day about like, is Debo considered a receiver or a running back? But I think if you're going to look at Ayuk as a number one, Keenan Allen is hands down better than Ayuk. And then if you're going to look at Mike Williams compared to Debo, as a receiver, I would say Mike Williams is better. So I think that when you're looking at what Brock Purdy's dealing with, he does have Kittle. That's a plus. But I think Brock Purdy has been very good at keeping the ball protected, winning games, and he does throw downfield. All of those things are true at the same time.
Okay. Yeah, Purdy's my 3.
So, okay, so I'll give you my 3 since you're probably going to use all the same arguments that I just used for Purdy.
100%.
So my 3 is Jared Goff is my 3. And statistically, when you look at what Jared Goff's done this year, I mean, you and I are probably on the same page with Jared Goff. He's top 4 in completion percentage. He's at 70%. So he's right there with Justin Herbert, who's got 71%. Jared Goff has I think 9 touchdowns. I don't know if he rushed for any. And 3 interceptions. So he's got a 3-to-1 ratio. And to be honest, like the team's winning, which goes into his passer rating, which goes into other things. So if the team's winning and he's not making too many mistakes, Jared Goff's up there for me. Like,
yeah. So this is where I get tough because I love both these quarterbacks, and this was a coin flip. Literally, I did a coin flip to figure out who I had here.
At 3?
Well, Purdy is 3.
Or 4?
So 4.
Well, no.
4 is.
Oh yeah, no. Oh, that's why I have a 3. So I have Goff at 3.
I have.
So I would assume. Okay, so
Purdy's at 3.
So who's your 4? Goff.
4 is Kirk Cousins. 5 is Goff. So they are.
Dude, I don't even have Kirk Cousins in my top 10.
Really?
Hold on.
Really?
Yeah, so Cousins isn't even in my top 10.
Wow.
Which is funny because I like to argue.
Coin flip for me.
I argue all the time with Ryan how Cousins is a top 10.
Cousins this year, I understand the team is 1-4. I understand that. And I know that has to go into it. He has a 67.2 completion percentage, 1,500 yards.
That's probably the biggest reason for me why the 67.2% completion percentage
13 touchdowns to 4 interceptions.
right now is a big factor.
He has taken 13 sacks for 90 yards. But his quarterback rating is a 60. Or no, we're doing not QBR. We're doing rating, right? This quarterback rate?
I'm doing both. I have passer rating and quarterback
so passer rating is 101.7.
For Kirk. Right.
So,
and the passer rating is that actually that 101.7 is like 10th.
Okay. But
so like I can give you guys that. Let me just give you a couple guys that are above it, okay? Russell Wilson.
Yes.
Tua.
Yes.
Josh Allen, obviously.
Yep.
Brock Purdy, obviously. That might be it. You said 101.7?
Yeah. So
For who?
For Kirk.
Cousins. I got 99.94 over it. So
like
the
I
other
said,
person that would be over him would be CJ Stroud.
Okay.
And then 99.94 Justin Herbert, which you obviously had him there.
Yes.
Mayfield, 99.73.
But
and that would be it.
I think they've played 2 good defenses.
Who has?
The Vikings. Well, you got to count the Chiefs and the refs.
The Chiefs are top 10 defense.
You got to count the
top
Chiefs,
10 defense.
You got to count the Chiefs and the refs as a top 10 defense. And then they played the Eagles.
Phone.
Oh, my bad. And you
yeah,
put up.
Yeah, I can see that. So they've actually probably had the hardest schedule, and that's a good argument. That's a good argument
So
to have that stat line and to be that consistent. And I think with passing yards, he's like top 10 too.
He is.
Right?
He has
so
1,500 passing yards. So
he's like top 5.
Through 5 games, he's averaging.
Hold on. What's his name?
Kirk Cousins.
299.6. So he's actually, I think, number 3.
Yeah, he's like 1498. So I rounded up to 1500. I mean,
He's above Josh Allen. So I think he's 3.
Yeah, and I understand that may go down, but we're with the JJ injury. But
No,
like
he's number 2.
But like I said, we're doing it as of right now.
He's
we're doing this with.
Okay. See, earlier you said JJ's NIR. You can start KJ Osborne. You can start Jordan Addison. You can start TJ Hockenson. Kirk Cousins will still produce 300 yards per game, and those guys are going to get it.
He's gonna sling it.
It's going to happen.
And this is where Madison, I think, is going to be involved in check down and Akers a little bit more as well.
This is the worst thing for JJ right now for contract talks.
Yeah.
The worst thing, because if Jordan
do
Addison goes up and puts up 150 yards as a rookie, the first thing they're going to say is, whoa.
Did we just
is it Kirk or is it JJ?
And I know. So earlier this week,
and
a lot of the fantasies.
I hate the NFL. They're talking about trading Kirk right now.
I'm going to tell you right now.
The dude is a top 5 quarterback for you. I can't say he's for me. He's not in my top 10.
The Vikings are not trading Kirk Cousins.
He's 34.
He's 34. I'm going to tell you right now. The Vikings are not trading Kirk Cousins. They're not.
Where's your buddy who's a Minnesota Queens fan?
I don't know. No, he's a Jets fan, but he also roots for Minnesota. But
he said he lives in Minnesota, right?
From the rumors I heard,
35,
and some insider information, JJ wants to stay with Kirk.
I don't know how accurate those rumors were, but I also heard the same thing.
So
is that JJ doesn't want to go anywhere and that's the reason JJ hasn't signed a contract yet.
Yeah, and I think he's comfortable. Where Kirk goes, maybe JJ goes.
It's kind of crazy though.
But I think, and Goff is gonna he's like I said, it was a coin flip. Maybe I should have put Goff here, but I went back to who they played, and you want to know both these teams should have beaten the Chiefs. The Vikings got screwed out of not beating the Chiefs.
So according to this, I don't know how accurate this is, but it says Kirk Cousins has 9 turnovers.
Is it? I thought it was.
I got it at 7.
So do I. I have it at 7 too.
But Sleeper says he had 2 fumbles week 1, a fumble week 2, a fumble week 4.
Are those fumbles lost?
No. So it'd be 7.
Okay.
If it was lost.
I know I had it at 7.
But even so, that to me is one of the reasons why I know I struggled putting him up here, because there's a lot better quarterbacks that are protecting the ball and winning games.
But where I rank his line is lower end. So I think that I understand he has control of the ball, but I think it also is you're blindsided. 2 of those fumbles came from his left tackle.
I have an issue with 4 interceptions from a guy who's 35.
I mean, that's still pretty good for 35.
It is. But all the other guys that I have in there aren't even in my top 10. Oh, no, they are. There's one.
So what games did the interceptions come into play?
Tampa Bay.
So solid secondary. Antonio Winfield Jr.
Chargers,
bad. That was outside of
Carolina.
Bad.
They're mid. They're not bad. And
2 against.
It was 2 in Carolina.
Was it? Oh God, that was his bad game. That's right. That was his down.
139 yards. Yeah, that was pretty bad. And he fumbled. That was a 3 turnover game.
Yeah, that was. I said I know he had 3 turnovers.
We also had 3 turnovers against Tampa Bay because he had 2 fumbles.
And they won that game, didn't they?
Was that the game they won?
I think it was the only game they won this year.
That's funny. All right, but yeah, I mean, so I won't sit here. That's your 4 and 5, right? That's your 4 and 5. Is Cousins you have Cousins, and at 5 you have.
5
sorry, at
Goff.
4 you had Goff. 5 you have Goff. Wait. You put Cousins above Goff?
Yeah, like I said, it was a coin flip.
Goff is on an MVP season.
It was a coin flip.
And you put Cousins above Goff.
It was splitting hairs. It was literally a coin flip. I could not.
Jared Goff is 9 touchdowns to 3 turnovers.
I literally flipped a coin at work.
And he has a better completion percentage.
I understand, but like I said, I went against who they played.
But Goff played Kansas City also.
Goff has played Kansas City.
Week 1. And they beat him.
Outside of that, and I know we called that. We called that game. Outside of that, they have played Green Bay, Atlanta.
Green Bay's had a good defense. Atlanta has one of the best secondaries in the NFL.
Seattle and Carolina.
Those two are, yeah. But they played Carolina.
Yeah, but Carolina,
who won that game?
And that's where I like.
They demolished Carolina.
And that's where the coin flip came in because of the Carolina game.
Why? Goff should be up in that game because of that.
Both of them so much.
If you look at straight up what Kirk Cousins did against Carolina with JJ, and you look at what Goff did in Carolina with Sam Laporta, a rookie, who was better? Jared Goff.
Yes.
So Jared Goff would have to be 4 for you.
I got to.
And Cousins at 5.
I will flip it. Like I said, I was so close. I literally flipped a coin. So I'll agree with you and go.
I don't like flipping coins.
Goff. I literally
at 5. At 5. So at 4, I have Herbert. For all the reasons you have Herbert at 2.
Okay.
He only has that 4 games. I think the completion percentage with Herbert is actually against him because I think with a 5th game it'll drop. And you will see that without Mike Williams, right? Because now you've got Quentin Johnston, who's a rookie, and then you're going to throw the ball to Keenan Allen. But you do have Austin Eckler back, which is a huge thing for him. That's an FYI for all you guys out there. Austin Eckler put a post out on Twitter, and he said, I am 99% sure that... It's so weird to say that. 99% sure I'm starting Sunday. So, I don't know what the 1% is, unless he's hanging out with Njoku at his house. I couldn't tell you what the 1% is. Too soon? Is that too soon?
I'm trying to get my other pages pulled up. You're making me
sorry.
Joker's a beast for playing. Oh my god, that dude is a monster.
He led the Browns in receiving yards, targets, and receptions.
Can you imagine? So just putting that helmet on, had to hurt so bad.
I gotta watch the references, especially since with everything's going on now. So and then I have Tua at 5. Okay, I have Tua at 5, and the only reason I have Tua at 5 is because he's leading one of the top offenses in the league, rushing and passing. My only issue with even having Tua here, outside of the fact that Tua does have
turnovers.
It's his turnovers,
At
but
10?
he's 72% completion percentage. He's 2nd in the NFL.
So I have Tua at 10.
So, but Tua is 11 touchdowns to 10 turnovers, but he has 110 passer rating and a 75.6% or QBR. So he's 72% completion percentage, which is 2nd in the NFL.
I have him at 10.
But he's higher than Herbert.
Yeah.
Now, granted, Herbert protected the ball. There's a big difference.
And it's also a lot easier when you have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devon Shane,
but the completion percentage isn't that easy. You still have to throw the ball accurately.
Yeah.
But Tua, since he's been in the league, has been very accurate.
Well, yes, Tua's been a very accurate passer.
So
accurate.
I would say that I have Tua at 5.
I have him at 10.
So now that we've gone through 5, let's start the second half.
All right, so you're not going to like this.
All right, so who do you got at 6?
People aren't going to like Russell Wilson. I have Russell Wilson at 6.
I got him at 8.
Okay, so we're not as far apart as I thought we were. We're a little far apart.
If anybody saw the thumbnail, it's who's better, Russell Wilson or Patrick Mahomes for tonight's game.
Russell Wilson.
And to be honest, Russell Wilson has statistically played better than Patrick Mahomes outside of that last game.
Yes, he has.
And the only issue is that they're playing Denver's defense. That Denver defense is so bad. I feel bad for Russell.
Quarterback is only one side. And I think Denver wins tonight. Call me insane.
I hate you because I like the upset, but I just don't know if Denver's defense is capable.
I think this is a Sutton game. I think this is a Sutton Judy game.
Is he catching with his hands? Both of them.
I think this is a Judy Sutton
catch with your hands, Judy and Sutton.
Judy,
not your chest.
Trying to trade Judy, so they're gonna juice up Judy's numbers tonight.
Judy's getting juiced.
Because there's rumors coming that he wants, or not that he wants out. I'm sorry, not that.
I saw this rumor that Judy to the Colts, dude. Why do the Colts need another receiver?
You know where
you need a quarterback.
Yeah.
Nothing against you, Gardner. I like the cowbell.
AR-15.
But AR-15. Gotta love it. They called him that, didn't they, in college?
Surprisingly.
So I like Russell Wilson, but I've got Mahomes here at 6. Okay. I got Mahomes here at 6 mainly because...
You know where I have Mahomes? I have Mahomes at 8. So we're flipping.
Oh, we got them swapped.
Actually, real quick, who do you got at 7?
Oh, You first.
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts. All right. So we both have Hurts at 7. That's kind of crazy.
Okay,
these three are kind of like in a row for us. They're ducks in a row. I feel the teams are what's making these guys better, and I think that Russell's got a hard go just because of who he's played.
I think he does.
And he's got a new head coach, new front office. Lost his number one target last year as tight end, Dulcich. And Dulcich is coming back not today. I think he'll be back next week.
And Javonte Williams has not looked like Javonte Williams.
Well, now it's Jaleel McLaughlin, right?
McLaughlin,
there might be rumors Javonte lost the starting job to Jaleel.
I'm going to tell you right now, if you have Jaleel McLaughlin,
start him.
Start him. Do not drop him for 3 weeks until they physically say we are 100% confident in Javonte. Do not drop McLaughlin.
I just dropped P. Ryan today.
You know where McLaughlin played?
No.
He played at Notre Dame.
Was he Notre Dame's running back?
No, he played Notre Dame College in Ohio.
Well, they get this guy off the street? Was he on a fishing boat too?
He is one of the best running backs to play in the NCAA.
Speaking of fishing boats, Carolina, what did you do with our guy?
Who?
Dearness Johnson.
Yeah, no, the Jags have defense.
The Jags?
The Jags have
What
defense.
happened to him?
Did
you just hide him on their
They
pine?
have 56 other running backs. They have
Tank Bigsby's over him?
I would be calling right now. Hey, we want him back.
Oh my God, the Browns should call to get him back.
He was
because
good.
Jerome Ford and
they're not it.
Pierre Strong weak.
And Kareem Hunt.
Pierre weak.
Pierre Strong and Kareem Hunt are
all right,
just
so
not it.
9. This is where it's going to get spicy.
9 is
because who I forgot to touch?
Justin Fields is 9.
I wish your buddy was on here.
Aaron.
Yeah, because he asked about Smith. No, the dude. No, who was on here last week that asked about Geno Smith?
Geno
Smith just missed the top 10.
Me too. He's 12.
So you have Justin Fields up here. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
They played Denver. Did you subtract that game?
No, because it counts for everybody else that's played fucking Denver.
It does?
No, I'm sorry. Geno is 13.
I should have subtracted all of Tua's stats for that game.
He would have no stats.
No, he would have stats.
He put up 70. They put up 70.
No. Tua had 500 passing yards week 1.
Oh, yeah,
most of Tua's stats came from week 1.
Yeah, Tyreek.
It was Achane and
Raheem Mostert
that literally ran for 400 yards combined.
The fact that nobody got fired after that game is astonishing.
You gotta fire Sean Payton?
Well, you gave up.
You just paid him ridiculous money.
You can't really do that.
Oh my goodness! You're not firing Sean Payton for at least 3 years.
9?
You're giving Sean Payton at least 3 years to figure it out.
Who's your 9?
Baker Mayfield. Okay. Baker Mayfield has been playing lights out this
11.
year. Baker Mayfield is 7 touchdowns to 2 turnovers, 70% completion percentage. He's winning games. What are they? 4-1, 3-2.
Who?
Might be 3-2. Tampa Bay 3-2.
I think
they lost to Philly.
I think they're 3-2.
I don't remember who else they lost.
I think they had their bye week.
Yes, they're 3-1. You're right. Correct. They were on a bye week last week.
No.
They were on a bye week last week.
They're 2-2.
No. Washington's 2-2.
You sure?
Yeah. They're 3-1. Yeah, you're right. They're 3-1.
No way, they're 3-1.
3-1. He's gonna look it up and he's gonna just get so mad.
Wow.
They're 3-1.
So,
and
I don't feel bad having Baker at 11 then.
Yeah, and Baker's been playing like lights out, man. He's not making a lot of mistakes. He's throwing the ball in the end zone, and he's become a very over-efficient game manager right now, which is great.
And you know what? He's given a big to
the Browns.
The Browns.
Well, and maybe the Rams.
And he said,
and maybe Carolina.
They asked him, "Are you still confused about why Cleveland?"
He's not confused.
And he says, "Yeah, I'm still kind of confused."
He's not confused. He should have never wrote that letter. He should have never wrote the Green Bay letter before he got let go.
The Green Bay letter.
Yeah, so he took and wrote the Aaron Rodgers letter before anything happened. Before anything happened.
With the Deshaun Watson and everything.
Yep. He just bad locker room situation, and the players may have loved him, but he argued too much with the front office.
So We're not even going to get into it. Let's continue.
At 10, who do you have?
Tua. Tua's ahead at 10.
Tua's at 10. CJ Stroud.
I have it goes Tua at 10, Mayfield 11, Stroud at 12. Again, that was a hard area.
Yeah, Geno Smith would have been my 11.
Geno Smith's 13.
And then Cousins would have been my 12.
Okay. But again, so I love Kirk. I love Goff. Ever since Goff got traded from the Rams to Detroit and they pretty much told him to go screw yourself, I've been rooting for Goff in Detroit.
I have a hard question for you. Right now, who do you take? Sam Howell or Matt Stafford?
Stafford. With the receivers, and can I look at who they play?
I mean, just think of in division.
Stafford. I think
Stafford because of in division?
Yeah, Stafford.
Because Washington plays a lot better defenses.
Yeah. You have to play Philly
outside
twice
of the
a
Giants.
year. You have to play the Giants twice a year.
Outside of the Giants. I just figured I'd ask. Because Sam Howell, 6 touchdowns to 7 turnovers, whereas Matt Stafford, 5-5.
Yes.
So he's not throwing touchdowns, but Cooper Kupp is back.
Cooper Kupp's back. Puka Nakua's playing good. Tyler Higbee's there.
2-2.
They traded Van
2-3.
They traded Van Jefferson.
Van Jefferson for a fifth, right? A fifth?
Which dude can't catch a ball, so that's okay.
Yeah, that one was weird to me, unless they're going to utilize Van the way that they're utilizing Tank Dell in Houston.
They might. I think Van Jefferson's time is limited in the NFL.
Well, he has to do something in Atlanta, right?
If he doesn't, he's done. Van is
It's so hard to say because Desmond Ritter's a top 20 quarterback. He's not. I can't put him in the 30s because of his consistency.
Yeah, top 20. Yeah, he's like 25, 26 for me. Yeah.
I would say Desmond Ridder.
Actually, that's hard. So I got to look at the list because
I would agree with you. I'd say 24, 25. I'd say 24, 25.
We need to have a Dak bashing day because Dak is not a top 10 quarterback.
Dak's not even
top 15.
Hold on.
Dak's 20. Maybe.
Yeah, Dak's not looking good. We can all talk about he's not turning the ball over, but he's turned the ball over more than
his defense.
half these quarterbacks.
Let's see how many points his defense has scored for him through 5 weeks.
Did you see the tweet where they're like, "Hey, Dak's turned the ball over once in 4 games, and the entire NFC's turned the ball over 16 times." It's like that's like 1 turnover per team.
Mm-hmm.
So Dak's average. That argument was stupid.
Well, that's the Cowboy fanboys. I mean, so we're in a cycle where it's our year.
It's the Baker cycle.
Dak's MVP. Dak sucks. We're here. It's starting right now, baby.
I am hoping.
Oh, next year's our year.
I've never been a Baker bro. I've never been a Baker hater.
I'm a Baker hater.
But I know you. I am hoping Baker breaks his own cycle.
Yes.
And I hope they go 13-4 this year.
I'll let you judge. Do you think I'm a Baker hater, or do you think I judged Baker too hard?
I think you're harsh on Baker because Baker has been in worse situations than Josh Allen his entire career.
100%, I would have to agree because if Josh Allen was on the Browns and went through the same situation, he would not be the Josh Allen today. I 100% agree with you.
I don't know of a starting quarterback outside of Fitzmagic who has had this many coaches in his 5 years in the league.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So,
because this is his 5th year, right?
2018. So yes, he was drafted 2018.
Because this was Lamar's 5th year.
Yes, Lamar's 5th year. This is Josh Allen's 5th year. This would have been Josh Rosen, but he was a bum's 5th year. Sam Darnold's 5th year. So I'm just going to say this about Baker. My biggest issue with Baker is how he handled the media in the locker room. He handled it he did not handle it like an adult franchise quarterback. He handled it like a college
6th year. I lied.
Okay, 6th year. I can't do math. He
2018.
He handled it like a college quarterback in the SEC. You know, it was a bad situation. He was not in the media. He said it was out to get him, the coaching staff. He let that be known out to the media, out to the public. It was just a bad situation all around. And I think that was the issue where the Browns were kind of, you know what? I just think it's too much right now. I don't want to call him Johnny Manziel.
And then they went and got a bigger headache.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus.
By any means. And like I said, as soon as the Watson trade happened, I did not want Watson. I would have stuck with Baker, and I would still do it right now to this day. Even with Baker playing the way you did, even if he wasn't, I still take Baker.
Here's the thing.
The whole situation with Watson. And so
we'll come back.
Let's just remember this. Watson is pretty much having the same injury Baker had, but Baker played because he's not a bitch.
That's not the same. Different injuries.
Shoulder injury still.
Completely.
Baker's was an AC joint.
So here's where we're going to have a debate because they're completely different injuries.
Oh, Baker's was
not on his throwing arm.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't. It was on his opposite arm.
It was his right arm.
No, it was on his opposite arm. It was not on his throwing arm. It was causing issues with the follow through because he was flinching, which is why he was shorting every single pass.
Right.
Whereas Deshaun Watson
Houston
is a bruised rotator cuff. So as he's coming through, he can't follow through on any pass.
He can't extend.
He can't do anything on any pass.
You're right. I'm sorry. I thought you're right. It was left, not right, because I remember that I'm imaging the hit that he took from.
And this is the biggest issue right now with Browns fans is that Deshaun Watson's doing what we wish Baker would have done. Is sit out because your team's better off without him. The only argument is that Deshaun Watson's making $65 million a year.
Did you see what they said? The doctors advised Watson to stop picking up his wallet.
How's he going to get a towel around his waist?
He advised him to stop picking up his wallet because he's making so much. You didn't get the joke.
Oh. He did not.
Correct.
Hey, that went right over my head.
Retard alert.
Oh, it did. Hold on, I grab my wallet. Oh my goodness. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna get into that game tonight. I'm
gonna call it, like I said, I called the upset.
Well, hold on. Let me go over to the game.
Why should we even get to the game? The refs control it. Why? Like, what's the point anymore? It's not too soon. It's happened in back-to-back weeks.
Back-to-back weeks. Jets and the Vikings.
And it happened back-to-back week last year.
There should be a bet on FanDuel or whatever betting site if the Jets make a illegitimate call again.
The refs, not the
or
Jets,
a no call.
Yeah,
you're right. The refs. I said Jets.
That's fine.
All right, so
we're not even going to do it because it just pisses me off.
Let's get into it. Let's get into it. The Kansas City Chiefs are favored by 10.5. What does Vegas want? Do they want Denver to just
win?
No, cover? Kansas City wins, but Denver covers? 23-20, Kansas City? I'm just saying. Do we just bet on Denver to cover?
You do. You have to, right?
Like,
you have to bet on Denver.
We all know that they want. I think Vegas has KC as the number one seed.
This game's
I think Vegas has KC as the number one seed.
This is either going to go one of two ways. Either Denver wins or it's a blowout. There's no close game. Either Denver wins or it's a blowout.
And here's one thing I will say, and I've said this multiple times to people. If the NFL is paying any attention to anybody, any attention to anyone, ever since sports betting has become nationalized in the United States, you have seen more and more meddling in the game, and it's become way more apparent than ever before. And if you're not paying attention, you need to pay attention.
You're going to miss it.
Because you're going to screw your bets up ridiculously. You might want to bet with Vegas instead of against Vegas at this point.
I am the master of hitting 12 of 13 legs in parlays. I have missed 3 parlays that would have paid out a whopping.
That's not what bothers me because people put
player props.
People put $10,000 on a team to cover. People put $10,000 on a team to win. People put $10,000 on a team to win, cover, and what's the other one? And money line. Win, cover.
Straight bet.
Yeah. So these things are changing this year when you look at the Rams game.
100%.
Well, the Rams game, right?
100%.
They kicked a field goal.
Yeah.
Right? That was weird.
We talked about that on the show. That was a cover bet.
Minnesota did the same thing. Same situation.
Yep. Cover bet.
Now you got the Kansas City Chiefs.
I think the refs are
betting on FanDuel.
I do. I think they're betting on. I do. And you know what? You said the refs are part of the NFLPA, right?
I think.
The refs
don't quote me on that.
If they are, they need to not be included in the NFLPA because guess what? They are not treated the same as players because if they touch a player, they're not suspended. If a player touches a ref, they're suspended.
Well, there's a hierarchy rule. There's someone who's not part of the game, but
I
they're
still make
part of
more
the
money than you, so sit down.
I'll take the fine.
Yeah, I can pay it. You can't, bud. Sorry.
Just drill.
I hate refs.
Every time a ref makes a bad call,
just like the longest yard.
throw a pass right at him. Oh, and down he goes. Sub ref.
You remember?
It's getting bad. It's getting bad.
And I love it because you remember the ref strike from, what was it, 2016? We had that strike.
And you didn't notice anything because college games they were just calling flags left and right.
Yeah.
I'd prefer college refs. At least I know the shit's going to get called.
Yeah. I mean, they're just...
it's overcalled outside of undercalled, but it's going to get called.
So if they need to change it to where if a flag is thrown...
Getting punched by my damn bar.
If a flag is thrown, there needs to be...
an explanation why it's being picked up.
There needs to be clear-cut evidence into showing, yes, we're wrong because...
Steelers cheated in their Super Bowl.
That was 2 times on that drive that Mahomes got an extra fucking third down because the interception, if you remember...
That's a Jets game.
Oh, you're right. The interception.
That's not the Minnesota game.
The interception.
It's pretty sad that know. It's pretty sad it's happened so much this year. We don't. It's bad. It's bad. Okay, but outside of all of that, let's be fans as fans should be.
I don't want to be fans.
I know it's getting bad. It's getting bad. Kansas City is favored by 10.5 points, and they are at home. Do we think Kansas City covers because everybody else is covered?
I take the points. Denver. I take the points with Denver. Give me the points.
Okay. I kind of like that Russell's coming back. Russell's playing better.
Yeah, so if I'm throwing a teaser out there, a teaser is where you tease a team up. I would definitely take Denver and tease them up 3.5, so you got 14. Or you could do 4 and get that half a point, so you know.
Way more knowledgeable in gambling than I've ever been.
I'm a degenerate, so I used to be real bad with gambling, like real bad. So,
wow, I need him to just gamble with my money and win.
Hey, I mean, I could do that.
All right, I think that's all we got today. Stardoms for today. You said Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy.
We didn't go over that.
Who?
Injuries.
Oh yeah, injuries in the game, and it's not a whining cat who's upstairs. Who is meowing like he's dying.
He's fine, I promise. So the injuries for the Denver Broncos are, as listed, Greg Dulcich, questionable.
Dulcich will be out because he just came off the IR.
I can never pronounce his name right. Dulcich.
That's fine. That's why I'm here. Hooked on Phonics worked for me.
I used Hooked on Phonics. It did not work for Wheels. Frank Clark is out. DJ Jones is out.
Frank Clark's out? About Chris Jones.
Baron Browning is out.
Yeah, I did see that.
So, that's the injuries for the Denver. Kansas City is Travis Kelce, questionable.
Travis Kelce will play.
George Karlaftis, questionable. And Tommy Townsend, their punter, is questionable.
Who's punter?
Tommy Townsend.
Kansas City's punter? Oh, let's just grab their kicker and have him.
And then Prince Tiga Wangoho was put on the IR.
Who's that?
An offensive tackle. I don't know who he is. I just really want to...
Is he starter for Kansas City?
I just want to.
You just really want to screw his name up?
I just really want to say his name.
You really want to screw that Samoan's name up?
Look at trying to pronounce that.
Which one?
Prince
Tega Wanogo. All right. Thanks. Why'd you make that one way harder than it was?
We can see why you run the show now.
I don't run the show. I just show up weekly, 3 days a week. And yeah, I run the show. He's got a good point. I think that's it for us today, though, right?
Yeah, so we'll just have some closing remarks. That's it. My closing remarks is...
Mike Evans might be out, and it's a 4 o'clock game. So if you have someone to start ahead of him, pay attention.
And we'll be back 8 a.m. on Sunday for the 9:30 game.
Correct. El Mundo.
Yep. And so I'm just going to say this before we leave.
I might be super hungover.
That's fine.
I have a golf outing in the rain.
Fuck that. So there's a lot of stuff going on right now in the media.
If I'm down here in a heating blanket.
Politics side, with some of the rumors about tomorrow, I'm just going to say, watch your surroundings, be safe.
What's tomorrow?
Do you want me just to come out and say it?
I don't know what's tomorrow.
So,
I really don't. What's tomorrow?
I hate to do this on the show, but it's really kind of worrying me.
If you don't like politics, check out now.
Yeah, that there's rumors about the Palestine protests going on in major cities and possible terrorist attacks. So
in the United States?
Yeah.
Because of the Hamas stuff that happened in Michigan?
And I'm not one to get worried about stuff like this, but it's there's some weird stuff going on. I'm not really comfortable with it. So
what you're saying is for these games, for the NFL games, which are high areas of
it's going to start tomorrow.
Traffic.
Yes. Just be aware of your surroundings. If something doesn't feel right, get out of there. That's all I'm going to say. Just be aware of your surroundings, and if you feel like something's off, trust your gut.
All right. I
hate to
no, you're good. You're good.
Something's weird going on.
Everything that's going on with Palestine and Israel, I think people need to agree, be aware of what's going on in the news right now.
I don't care if you're Democrat
there are local
Democrat, Republican.
There are local Hamas advocates who are advocating for people around the world to protest the same way that Hamas did against Israel.
Yes.
And that is currently happening. That is, you are not incorrect at all. And that was announced by the leader who is up in Michigan.
Yes. And
I appreciate that.
It's just weird.
So
I know
we are trying our hardest to focus on football.
Yeah, but
with everything going on in politics right now, it's very hard to focus on football. So I am not going to be like the NFL. I am not going to pick a side.
Yeah.
I will literally stay out of it. If someone wants to have a conversation with me about it, I know a lot about it. I've done a lot of research about it.
Yep.
But I'm not going to pick a side because it's not my conflict.
No,
that's just who I am. I'm an American.
Yep. And we're not going to step away from when something like this happens. We're going to warn you guys because you're our fans, and I want to treat everybody as if they're family. So that's just how I view it. I know I've talked to many of my family about the situation, especially my wife, and she knows.
To be honest, it might not be a good time to be going to downtown areas and going to a football game right now. And I think the NFL would understand.
Yeah.
So, to be honest, they make millions off YouTube TV. So, what was that, a $2 billion contract they made?
It's insane.
All right. So, that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Please win some money, somebody.
Yeah.
And then send it to me. No, don't send it.
We need a new camera.
I do want a very good camera, but apparently I can't win money myself.
If I hit a big parlay, we'll get the camera.
Apparently I can't win money myself. So
13 legs, baby.
All right.
Let's
you
go.
guys have a wonderful day and peace out.
Later.